Happy Friday, everybody. So we're ready to begin. Thank you so much for being here. Are you guys going to get lunch out of this?
Yes.
Awesome. So you're welcome.
Thank you.
Now, I want to thank Dr. Hatam for allowing me to be here and just share with you guys, and hopefully you get some value with what I'm going to be sharing with you today. I believe that what I'm going to be sharing with you, you're able to apply it not only in your personal life, but also in your professional life here at the chiropractor. So just a little bit about me. My name is Jose Vargas. I know some of you know me. I'm a patient here, and I am a Secret Service officer turned leadership development coach. And what I do is I literally help young leaders, new leaders achieve their highest goals, their biggest dreams, increase their influence, and increase their profits. So that's what I'm passionate about. And again, I want to thank Dr. Hatam for allowing me to be here today.
You're welcome.
So I want to start, and as you can see in your worksheet there, I want you to fill it in. I like you to talk back to me, all right? If you like something that I say, I want you to say that's good, all right? So practice with me. Say that's good.
That's good.
All right, so over the next 25 minutes or so, all right, and then you can fill it in as I'm talking, as I'm going through this information that I believe is really going to help you take your life and your leadership to the next level. I want to talk to you about how to exceed customer expectation. All right, how to exceed customer expectation. But before I start, I want to share with you two stories, and they both revolve around food because I love food. So the first one was my wife and I, Marissa and I, we went to our favorite fast food restaurant, right? God's Chicken, Chick-fil-A. And as we went there, for some reason, I always look at my sandwich. I inspect my sandwich. I don't know what I'm looking for, but I always inspect my sandwich. And as I opened my sandwich, I found a dead gnat, right? A little fruit fly on my lettuce. So immediately I was like, oh man, that's not a big deal. But I go to the manager and I say, hey, excuse me. I was trying not to make a scene. So I just go to him and say, excuse me, I found a little dead gnat in my sandwich. He literally apologized profusely. He was like, you know what? I'm going to hook you up. So he brought me some new food, which I expected, right? Because I paid for the food. What I didn't expect is what he did next. And he came back out and he brought me the receipt. He said, hey, listen, I just put your money back in your account. But not only mine's, my wife's meal as well. So if that wasn't enough, as we were eating our food, he came out and he brought us 2 gift cards and said, hey, next time is on us. So talk about exceeding expectations, right? Would you agree?
Yeah.
So on the contrary, another story is a friend of mine named Danny. Him and his wife invited me and my wife and a few other couples out to eat. And he was insisting, hey, you're going to love this restaurant. I want you to come on out. It was an hour and 45 minutes from where we were at the time in New Jersey, up north. So he wanted us to go. You're going to enjoy this food. It's some great steak. You're going to enjoy the experience. And finally, I was like, all right, I love food. Let's do it. So we went. We drove an hour and 45 minutes from where we were, fought through traffic. It's hard finding parking. And then as we went up, opened the doors, and the host, who was literally rushing, he greeted us with a half a smile, and he says, how many are in your party? We told him the amount of people we had. He sat us down. They waited a while, and then they took our order. It was cool. We were talking. We were having a good time. And all of a sudden, food started delaying. And then one by one, people started getting their food at different times from our party. So people started getting their food at different times. We were like, all right, we came out to eat together. We want to eat together, but it's all right. We're going to enjoy this moment. And then my food was one of the last ones to come. And as they brought me my plate, literally instantly, I saw a B in my sauce, a B-E-E. Now, for those of you who are thinking, well, it's extra protein, they didn't charge you for it. You should have ate it, right? Well, here's the thing. For those of you who know, I'm highly allergic to bees, like deadly allergic to bees. So I immediately, I raised my hand, I said, hey, excuse me, there is a bee in my sauce. So the guy looked at it, he goes, took the plate, didn't apologize, just took the plate, took it to the back. I was like, all right, cool, they'll bring me more food. Everybody finished eating, my food still didn't come out. Finally, it came back out. I was thinking about taking it home. I was like, nah, I'll just eat it. Everybody was looking at me. So now, look at Jose, everyone, right? So then as I was eating and we were done, I thought the manager would have come out and apologized. No apology. I thought, they probably would have gave me a little discount, but no discount. And long story short, my wife and I never went back. Our friends never went back. Yeah. No apology. They still same bill, right? We never went back to that place. But I have 2 questions for you, and one of them is in your fill-in. So the 2 question is this, and I want you to raise your hand. How many of you have ever had an experience like this, a positive or a negative experience? Raise your hand, right? All of us, 100% of us, right? We've had an experience where we were on the receiving end, and whether it was a good experience or a negative experience, we'll remember that experience. And the second question that I want you to ask is in your notes is, what type of experience do you want to give to people when they walk through these doors? Because whether you realize it or not, you are not only in the receiving end of customer service, but you're also in the giving end, right? So what type of experience do you want to give people, right? If we are to exceed our customers' expectations, and if we are to serve our customers and our clients, we must do a few things. You must connect with your client, with your guests, as soon as possible. And I believe that's the first one. So if you are going to exceed customer expectations as they walk through these doors, or wherever your office is, you need to connect with your audience as soon as possible, right? Now, why? Because connecting increases, and I believe that's the next one, connecting increases your influence in every situation. Whether that's in your personal life or your professional life here at work, connecting always increases your influence in every situation. Now, if that's true, then what is connecting? It's in your notes there. Connecting is the ability to identify with people and relate to them in such a way that your influence increases with them, right? That it increases your influence with them. So think about this. Think about your own life for a moment. Who has influence over your life? Who influences you to do things in your life? Now, you're probably looking at me like, Jose, nobody influences my life. But the reality is, all of us are influenced by the people in our lives. Think about your coach for a moment, right? Think about your boyfriend or your girlfriend or your husband or your wife, how they influence your decision. If you're still fighting with me, think about this. How many of you have ever went to go watch a movie based on a friend's recommendation? How many of you ever went to go to a restaurant because your friend said, hey, go check this restaurant out, it's pretty cool? How many of you ever said, I'm going to go buy this product because this person said it was a good product and I went to go buy that product, right? The reality is all of us are influenced by the people closest to us. And the reason that our friends, our family, these people who you're thinking about, who influence your decisions, that the reason that they can influence your decisions is because they connect with you and you connect with them, right? So if that's true, the reason that you can influence is because they connect with you. So if we are to influence, or if we are to influence the people that walk through these doors, we have to connect with them if we are to exceed expectations. So the question becomes now, how do I connect with them? How do I connect with every single one of our guests that walks through these doors? Now, there's more than these principles, but I want to give you 3 principles today in this next few moments. But before then, can I read to you a funny story? Yeah. All right. So this story is about Jorge Rodriguez. Jorge Rodriguez was an Old West bank robber from Mexico who operated along the Texas border around the 1900s. Rodriguez was so successful that the Texas Rangers established a special force to try to stop him. Late one afternoon, one of these special rangers saw Rodriguez slipping across the border back into Mexico and trailed him at a discreet distance. He watched as the outlaw returned to his home, village, and mingled with the people in the square. When Rodriguez went into his favorite cantina to relax, the ranger slipped in and managed to drop it on him. With a pistol in the bank robber's head, the lawman said, Jorge Rodriguez, I know who you are. I've come to get back all the money that you've stolen from the banks in Texas. Unless you give it to me, I'm going to blow your brains out. Rodriguez could see the man's badge and he could discern the hostile intent, but there was a problem. he didn't speak English. He began speaking rapidly in Spanish, but the ranger couldn't understand what he said because he didn't speak Spanish. Just then, a young boy came up and said in English, "I can help. I speak English and Spanish. Do you want me to be your translator?" The ranger nodded. The boy quickly explained everything the ranger had said. And nervously, Rodriguez answered, "Tell the big ranger that I have not spent a cent of the money. If he will go to the town, face north, count down 5 stones, he will find the loose one, and the money is all there. I haven't spent a cent. Please tell him quickly." The boy looked back at the ranger and said, "Señor, Jorge Rodriguez is a brave man. He is ready to die." See, that is a funny story, but that story points out so many principles. But I want to share this. The ability to connect with others begins when we truly value people. The ability to connect with others begins when we truly value people. And the ability to connect with others is when you value people. And how do you value people? I'm going to give you 3 ways, and they're in your notes. The first one is the way you value people is that you connect with people, number 1, on common ground. You connect with them on common ground. Now, when I first moved to Virginia 2 years ago, I was looking for a chiropractor, right? And I was suffering for severe migraines, and this is a personal story here, but I spent hundreds of probably thousands of dollars trying to find cures and relief. And I found this office, read the reviews on Google, came in to see Dr. Hatam. And as I came in through this glass door, I noticed a cleaned office. I expected that. I saw nice team members who greeted me with a smile. Right? I think it was Cindy. Thank you, Cindy.
You're welcome.
And then I met Dr. Hatam, who brought us into this room, and he began to do what I'm sharing with you today. See, he began to connect with me. And I want you to pick this up for a moment. Our other doctors, when I saw other doctors, they quickly tell you what you ought to be doing. You ought to be doing this, you ought to be doing that. What's the next step? But as soon as Dr. Hatam was in this office, he started to build on common ground. He asked me what I did for a living. He said, "What do you do for a living?" And seemingly to the person outside, this has nothing to do with why I came with my pain. But subconsciously, what that does is that brings the walls down and the barriers down so that you can connect with your guest, your client, on another level. See, he began to ask me, like, "What do you do for a living?" And then not only did he do that, but then I told him what I did for a living. I work for the Secret Service. And then he knew. He said, "Well, are you a suit or are you the vest?" You remember that? And I said, we both wear vests, but I'm the vest, right? So the point of that is, as soon as he said that, that dropped walls down, because now subconsciously I said, he gets me. He understands me. And he said, that vest puts a lot of strain on your neck. So, on your spine. In other words, he began to build this customer-patient relationship on common ground. And if you're going to build relationship and exceed expectations, customer expectations, you have to build on common ground. And here's 3 questions that are not in your notes, but if you want to write them down, they're valuable for your personal life and to take your game to the next level. And it's this. The first thing that you must do if you want to build on common ground, the first thing you want to do is you want to ask great questions. Dr. Hatam was asking great questions to build on our common ground. You see, someone once said this. They said the quality of your questions determines the quality of your answers. So the questions that you begin to ask, whether you're at the front desk or on the floor, will begin to give you the quality answers that you need to serve that customer or that client or the guest. Number 2, if you want to build on common ground, you have to pay attention. How many of you, by show of hands, real quick, have ever been talking to someone and you felt totally ignored because that as you were talking to them, they were looking across your shoulder? Right? I think all of us have experienced that. It's a horrible feeling, isn't it? You feel ignored, you feel like, hello, I'm right here. So number two, if you want to connect on common ground with your guests, you need to pay attention. How is this person coming in today? What is this person feeling today? How is this person emotionally? Because they came to my office because they got some pain in their life, right? How did they come? They came maybe at lunchtime in their half an hour break. Maybe they came after work and they're tired. How did this person come? And the only way you know this if you ask questions and you pay attention. And number three, Dr. Hatam made it all about me. You got to make it all about your guests, your clients, at least in that moment, right? So think about it. When you go to a friend's house, and as soon as you get to your friend's house or your family's house, they open the door for you, right? I'm not saying you have to do none of these things, by the way, but I'm just teaching you some principles here. But you go to their house, they open the door, they get your coat, they offer you some water. In my house, I come from a Puerto Rican family, so you can be in their house at 11 o'clock at night and they'll still give you coffee, okay? Why? Because they want to treat you as a guest. They want to make sure that you feel like a guest. So now, what if, and I'm not saying you have to do this, but what if we treated everyone that walks through these doors not as patients, but as guests? What if every single person that walks through here, we look, we don't have to tell them this, but in our own mindset, we'll begin to look at them. This is our guests. They came here to visit us. They came here because they have some pain. They came here because they want us to help them. What if we thought like that? How much more would our service to them increase? Number two, if you want to increase your customer service and have exceeding customer service, so not only must you connect on common ground, but you have to keep it simple. Keep it simple. Now, the first time I came here, I am sure Dr. Hatam can attest to this. I was talking to him, and I'm sure he's a smart man. I'm sure he could have gave me all the lingo of the chiropractic world that I probably would have been like, he sounds smart, but I don't know what you're talking about. But immediately he brought this out, and he began to explain that my pain might be coming from somewhere within here. Right? And what that did for me was that allowed me to see it. That allowed me, he kept it simple. That allowed me to see it. That allowed me to understand it. And that allowed me to relate to it. Right? So you have to keep it simple. And then he went on to say, then we can possibly, before we treat you, let's rule out some other possibilities. Let's get you an MRI test. Let's get you some x-rays, etc., etc. Keeping it simple in words that I can understand. So how can you continually keep it simple for your guests, right? From the initial phone conversation that they call and say, hey, this is Virginia Chiropractor, how can you continually keep it simple for them? From you doing the billing, from you doing the floor, how can you continually keep it simple for the people who are walking, your guests that are walking through these doors? How can I make it simple to alleviate their pain? How can I make it simple to alleviate their pain so that I can give them great customer experience? There's a saying that I love and I truly try to live by it, and it's this. And you're going to probably agree with me. If not, tell me, okay? And it is this, that people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. See, the reason I was able to pay attention, first of all, because he connected with me on common ground. Secondly, because he kept it simple. And then he gave me a solution to my problem. And I was able to receive it because I realized now this guy cares for me. He's treating me as a good doctor would. He wants to take care and help me alleviate my pain. He knew the medicine that they were trying to give me at another spot. See what I'm saying? So you have to think of ways that you personally can keep it simple for the guests that are walking in this room. How can I show this guest that I care? Number 3, you have to create an experience that everyone enjoys. And you have the power to do that as a member of this team here. So not only must you build on common ground, not only must you keep it simple, but how can I create an experience that this guest will enjoy? Think about it. Somebody comes to your house and they're a guest at your house. You're not just going to let them just sit there. I'm not saying, like I said, you're gonna try to give them a great experience, right? So how can you, in the realm of your work, how can you create an experience that your guests will enjoy? From the initial phone conversation to the follow-up appointment, to the checking in and checking out, to the service floor, how can you give them a great experience? Now, what would make people, your guests, come here versus probably dozens of chiropractors within a 5-mile radius? And that should help you answer, how can I give them an experience that they will enjoy? How can I wow my guests? How can I serve them in such a way that not only do they feel better physically, but while they're in here, they're inspired emotionally? That's possible. So when they leave this place, they're like, oh man, I feel 100 times better. I'm just so glad I made it. It took some of my lunch, but you know what? I'm so glad that I went there. It took, I'm tired, but I'm so glad that I deviated and got there. And by the time they leave, I feel so much better. And when their wife or husband or spouse, whatever, hey, how you feel? I feel great. How can you wow your guests? And I'm finishing up. One way to do this, and I want you to write this down. It's not on your notes, but one way to do this is to ask this question. Am I treating the people that walk through these glass doors, am I treating them as guests, or am I treating them as inconveniences? Am I treating the people who are walking through these doors, am I treating them as guests, or am I treating them as inconveniences? And if you begin to think on that, you're going to take your game to a whole nother level. But in order for you to apply these 3 principles, it goes back to the story of Jorge Rodriguez. Even though that was a funny story, it really does. It goes back with caring about the people that you're serving. But in order for them to feel that they're being cared for, you have to truly connect with them at a whole nother level. Okay? And if you can connect with them, you can really influence them and really take your excellent customer service and take it up to a whole nother level. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. And I hope this was valuable to you. How many think this was valuable? Raise your hand. All right. Awesome. So again, if you don't mind, I would appreciate if you can see Jeremy maybe somewhere by the light, the natural light, and just give a testimony of how this served you today, and give us permission that we can use it for promotional material. I would really appreciate it. Thank you, Dr. Nathan.
Give him a round of applause.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.